Hello, my name is Bianca McGraw, and I am the Director of the Positive Alcohol Messages Committee. The Positive Alcohol Messages Committee, or PAMC, is a cutting-edge company that provides universities and colleges with educational alcohol safety materials and positive programming initiatives within residential communities. Currently, the committee is facilitating programs that help students living on campus calculate their blood alcohol content, or BAC. PAMC wants to conduct research to determine the effectiveness of positive residential alcohol programs on students' ability to calculate their BAC levels at Northern Illinois University. PAMC predicts that the alcohol and BAC informational programs will be very effective. Students are more likely to make safer and healthier choices if they are educated on how to estimate their BAC levels. Students who understand that their BAC is determined by factors like time, amount, gender, weight, and diet will make more informed decisions on drinking patterns and consumption. Without this information, students may be unaware of the potential dangers that are associated with high BAC levels. Students living in two separate but similar residential housing units will be tested on their ability to calculate their BAC levels. One housing unit will receive positive alcohol programs that focus on determining BAC levels, while the other unit will not. Residents from both housing units will be tested again on their ability to calculate BAC. It is predicted that the students living in the housing unit receiving the positive alcohol programs will be able to estimate their BAC more efficiently than those who have not. PAMC will test 200 students from the Northern Illinois University residential population. The target population will be students that reside in two similar housing units. The students from each unit will be very similar in social class, gender, age, ethnicity, and accessibility. 10 participants will be randomly selected from each floor of the 10-story housing units. All 200 students will complete a test at the beginning of the fall semester to assess their ability to estimate their BAC levels. During the semester, 100 students residing in the Unit North will receive interactive and educational programming, while the 100 students residing in Unit South will receive no programming. At the end of the semester, all 200 students will receive the same BAC test again. Students will be given an incentive of receiving a Best Buy gift card at the end of the semester if they complete both BAC tests. Here is an example of a BAC test question. The research will use a pre-test, post-test controlled group design. The experimental group, Unit North, will receive alcohol and BAC informational programming as a stimulus, while the control group, Unit South, will not. The programming will be the only independent variable. The dependent measures will be the student's BAC knowledge. Students' BAC knowledge will be assessed by computing the mean score from the correct test answers. PAMC plans to conduct the research during the fall semester. At the beginning of the semester, all participants will be given a test asking information about their BAC knowledge. All students will be given the BAC test on the same day at 2 different times to accommodate schedule conflicts. The experimental group, Unit North, will complete BAC tests in Unit North's multi-purpose room at 2 p.m. and again at 6 p.m. The control group, Unit South, will complete BAC tests in Unit South's multi-purpose room at 2 p.m. and again at 6 p.m. Students will be informed that the purpose of the test is to assess alcohol and BAC knowledge. Participants will be handed BAC tests and asked to complete them in silence. Each test contains 10 questions about alcohol and BAC. Participants will be told to answer the questions to the best of their ability and that there are no penalties for not knowing the correct answer. During the semester, Unit North will receive alcohol and BAC informational programming sponsored by PAMC. Unit South will not receive any alcohol and BAC informational programming. Programming will include educational socials, interactive games and materials, and BAC estimator card. At the end of the semester, participants will be given the same test under the same conditions. After completing the test, students will be thanked for their participation and given a Best Buy gift card. Students' BAC test scores are the dependent variable for the experiment. Test scores are added up and averaged out in order to compute the mean score for both the experimental group and control group. The mean score of each pre-test and pro-test group will be compared and evaluated. It is expected that the results will show a significant score increase in the group that received the BAC programming. Figure 1 is an example of what data will look like if the programming is successful. If the results are as predicted, students with the residential alcohol and BAC information programming will be able to calculate their BAC more efficiently than those who have not received the programming. Students who are able to calculate their BAC will be more likely to make safer and healthier choices. However, selection bias, diffusion, and location are possible issues that threaten the validity of the experiment. Selection bias might be a threat to internal validity due to various alcohol and BAC informational programs by other university and residential departments on campus. These programs may cause differences in measurements within the study and make it hard to evaluate the effectiveness of the study's BAC program. PAMC plans to communicate with these various departments about their programs and discuss ways to accommodate the research. Another potential threat to internal validity is diffusion during participation because of the high social interactions between housing units. Since isolating the students from each housing unit is not an option, PAMC plans to work with residential staff members to ensure that only residents living in the experimental unit attend the BAC program. Location may be another possible threat to internal validity. Testing conditions can affect participants' comfort levels and scores. PAMC will conduct tests in the housing units, multi-purpose rooms, which have identical settings, lights, and space. PAMC's goal is to promote safe alcohol behaviors and social responsibilities at campuses nationwide. By conducting research at different institutions, PAMC is able to prove the effectiveness of its residential alcohol and BAC informational programs. PAMC will continue to provide new and engaging campus programs that promote safe alcohol behaviors and social responsibility.